Hello, everybody. I do believe we are now up and running on YouTube. Let me just double check that. Make sure we got it all going on. There we go. Nope, that's an ad. YouTube is in fact good to go. Now I'm going to pop on Twitch, make sure that's up and running. So one thing I will say is, for those of you who are using Stream Decks, I have a Stream Deck XL Plus, I think is the correct model. And I just had to manually update mine because it stopped, or rather it lost the authorization of all the apps it was tied to. And I was like, what is going on? So you can go into options and check for an update. And it turns out there was a big update. And then with the new update, once it installed, it had the authorization button at the bottom. So like I can control the volume. I don't have too many authorizations on my Stream Deck, but one of them is obviously Discord for this. It's how I control the jukebox's volume. And it's so much easier to just have a dial that I can always edit than it is anything else. So yeah. Twitch, are you up and running? Twitch is, in fact, up and running. All right. We have a jam-packed episode for y'all tonight. The reason I have the Category 2 crisis up here will become apparent when I get to my portion. I don't know what the rest of the DMs are showing at the moment. I have an idea for DM Lacara's, and for DM Speedy's, and DM Shin's, but not 100%. Like, I don't have anything extra to show early of theirs. So, that being said, I have my stuff up on the screen, but we won't necessarily get to it right away. It's just I needed to display something rather than nothing. So I know what I'm going to show. My stuff is also the thumbnails. The 3 thumbnails are part of my one thing to show. And I have lots of little things to show to go along with it as well. But okay, I know that the original show and tell was our anniversary episode, so we had some pretty big things to give out. I don't know if that's going to be the case every time we do a show and tell. That will end up giving out something. I actually do have a handout to give out to people, but my train of thought just chugga-chugga-choo-chooed right out of the station. Whoops. I'm not releasing it to coincide with this stream. I'm going to see how much I talk about it because I will edit the actual handout later to add in more of my campaign specifically. Right now, I'm trying to make it generic while keeping the idea of everything for my campaign because you could make your own envoy. You'll see the second tab up there. It's Mother's Envoy. You can totally make your own envoy. But I will be giving you a sheet for that. And I'm not sure how many of the other DMs will have handouts. What's up, AWAS? But mine's going to be, I will hand it out next week after I've made whatever revisions I want to make. And it will be behind the members of the pack tier. But at least the handout will be minus what I'm going to show you here, because generally speaking, I'm pretty much done with the handout. But I want to tweak it to make it as generic but also as useful as possible to everybody else. And there's tons of things that I say it in the handout text currently. I have like a little passage there, like you can do these extra things with the creature, but my players didn't. So you can use that information as you will. My players they just fought it. They didn't do anything special with it until after it was dead, and they ripped its flesh apart. And then we're like, oh, we should look at this stuff that was on it. But some other players probably are going to investigate further while it's still alive. Not my players, though. What's up, Dex? So I will have that handout. But if you're a Twitch sub, you already should have access to it, because as I found out last week, they raised the prices of Twitch subs, which I didn't know. Apologies. So technically, all of you that are Twitch subs, I thought were Cubs, but you're actually technically members of the pack. So if you are a Twitch sub, you will have access to this. I'm not sure how to give the links to you or anything, so just hit me up on the side. Awaz, I'll hit you up on the side. Dex, you'll already have access because you're a respected hunter on YouTube, so you can see in the Discord. But I'm going to make the post on Patreon next week, and I'll make a post on Discord. The same, hand out the files there. But if you're a Twitch sub and you want the handout, it is owed to you. Just let me know and I'll send it on over. I also, so I wrote up the original in Microsoft Word, okay? I've been using the same Microsoft Word copy since 2010, literally. And my antivirus currently was like, hey, yo, are you sure this is legal? And I was like, and it messed up everything. And I was like, oh, that's new. Excellent. Love you for that. Thanks. So I had to switch to LibreOffice. So I'm not sure how the file is going to look for other people if you're using Microsoft Word still, because the original was made in Microsoft Word, but then I went and edited it in LibreOffice because I had to move everything over, which was just a hassle. It won't affect the repository because the repository is managed online by OneNote, but I lost access to OneNote, so I had to go download the current available version of OneNote, which apparently you can only use when you're connected to the internet, which is stupid because all of my stuff is offline that is not repository related. I mostly use OneNote for like little background things in my campaign, and also for Unfairy Tales, which if you guys have been here for a while, I haven't done an episode of Unfairy Tales since I got hacked like 2 years ago. But there's like 70 something episodes out already. If you want to hear about how I'm sort of a functioning adult, but I shouldn't be. But I keep all the notes for Unfairy Tales in there. And LibreOffice is going to take some getting used to. It is weird. I used to use OpenOffice as my office alternative, but because it's written in Java, like it just, I didn't want to deal with that. I'm not a fan of Java. I'm not a fan of your code making your computer think like 700 more times than it actually has to get the same information other code would have gotten instantly. So I was like, I'll try LibreOffice. It's okay so far. A little weird, but okay. I'll probably also make a PDF. Not just the docx file. But yeah. So what I originally was going to say is that I'm not sure how many of the DMs are going to have handouts, but because the first show and tell was our anniversary episode, we sort of like, boom, we went in hard. I think we'll be tailoring future episodes of show and tell to not always necessarily something we've created, but something we've used. I think DM Speedy is going to show off something he's used. That's my guess. It won't actually be some. Well, I mean, the thing he's using it for is definitely something he's made, but yeah. We'll get there when we get there. Hello.
Hello, hello, stream. Hello, Okami.
Hi.
How you guys doing today?
Pretty good. We had a lot of fun on Friday. Thank you all for coming out.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
I'm glad I got to even pop in for the short bit of time I did.
I know. It was so nice.
I gotta join you guys for like I said before, I gotta join you guys for more dailies.
Hell yeah.
Have fun in the sun with the rest of the people.
Or the moonlight.
I want to go where the people. I want to go where the people are.
I feel you.
Where they see me dancing. But today's show and tell.
It sure is.
You got something interesting you're gonna show us today?
I'm going to introduce you guys to my first multi-phase boss battle. I also realized just now that I'm only saying my first multi-phase boss battle because my players completely avoided what should have been the first multi-phase boss battle against that Lucha Mimic. I just realized
How exactly did that happen?
Oh. Not that I'm bitter or anything.
How did that happen? Do tell.
My players were like, okay, so way back when, even before we started playing, Grimbo found online, someone was like, oh, here's this sentient magic item. It's Toothy, the friendly mimic. As long as you feed it meat, it will be your weapons. And then I was like, oh, okay, so I could even do a thing here where it's like God Eater, where if you can give it the flesh by, like, as you kill a creature, you can have it transform into like a big mouth and eat them, as long as they're fleshy. And I was like, oh, this is going to be so cool. And then storyline-wise, what happened was they took Grimjack's library to the Shadowfell. Whoop. But it just got sucked up like a full orb. Just whoop, that whole thing went to the Shadowfell. And the containment unit for Toothy was broken. And I was like, Toothy's free. I didn't tell him Toothy was free. I had other people that were from his library be like, yo, the containment unit is broken and he's not here, meaning he's still in town somewhere. And my players were like, aight. And I was like, what? And so time has passed in game, and one of Grimjack's background character dudes who wasn't in the library at the time, so he didn't go to the Shadowfell. He was like, yo, there's been a lot of cats getting eaten in town. I'm gonna assume that that's Toothy, because something in the sewer is like eating small animals. I'm gonna assume that's Toothy. I'm gonna go do something about it. And even then,
you know, that tracks really hard as something only Toothy would do.
Yeah.
Maybe we should investigate.
Yeah. So even then, Grimjack was like, nah, you got it. And I was like, you're not even going to help? He was like, nah, it's fine. He really is. He wants it so bad. He wants it so bad, but he won't, like, do anything to get it back. Like, at all. And so I eventually had his background character and the leader of the town guard were like, yo, we're going to go in the sewer, and protocol dictates I tell the closest other member of the library that I'm going on a field mission, and you are technically the closest one now, so I'm going to tell you I'm going to go into the sewers. Grimjack was still like, okay, get my dog back. And I was like, what? If it's your dog, you just let it run into the sewers? Like, what? He's like, don't hurt my dog. I'm like, now you care? You could have gone and had a lucha libre fight in the sewers with a mimic and had a sentient magic weapon, man. But no.
Nope, you chose the non-engaging road, and look what it's gained you. Nothing. Nothing. I hope they killed the mimic.
They did not, but the leader of the town guard did in fact get power bombed by this mimic. And now it's a running joke in the group, like, oh my god, the mimic power bombed him.
Oh.
He's doing his best, okay?
I want the mimic to escape, make its way to Waterdeep, and join the Xants.
I mean, I guess it depends on who goes and gets it from Belert and the town guard, really. There is a person in their group who would, in fact, turn it over to the Zent, probably. Well, it depends on if she considers it one of her own, I suppose. But yeah, that was supposed to be my first multi-phase boss battle. But my players just completely ignored it. So instead, they got this one.
In classic fashion.
Yep. Also, like, that specifically happening makes me very wary of Grimjack saying, like, oh, I have an idea for a campaign. It's going to be 13 episodes. Like, it's going to be 13 sessions specifically. And I'm like, whoa. I don't think you can plan for 13 specifically. Ooh.
A dual boss fight that's a kobold mind controlling a dragon.
That's
good
pretty
old
cool.
kobolds.
Okay. You saying that makes me feel like I'm the only DM ever who has never had a kobold or a goblin in a mech suit fight. Every campaign I've been in has had that fight, and I have never done one.
I have yet to run a kobold in a mech suit.
Okay. I feel better. I feel better.
Yeah, I don't. I plan to have mech suits without the kobolds. But never kobolds and mech suits. I have yet to go mech warrior kobold on anybody.
Kenobi. I won't lie to you. This particular multi-phase boss battle, I thought was going to be a TPK, but instead it was just one player who almost died because he had no idea what exhaustion meant. And so in the handout, I'm like, yo, if your players don't know what exhaustion is, you got to explain it to them, or someone in the group has to explain it to them.
I love that.
And it was so funny to see his reaction, because at first the players were just like, if you're too exhausted, you die. And he was like, okay. And he was already at like exhaustion level 3. And they were like, no. If you get to 6, you die. And he was like, okay. And they're like, what? He gets to 4. And they're like, if you get to 5, you can't move anymore. And he goes, wait, you mean I gotta stay here and die? And the rest of the party was like, yes!
My boy. The uptake.
I forgot why. This came up the other day. I think it was it must have been a meme that Awaz sent, but we were talking about atomic breath. And I've definitely had that conversation specifically with Grim, where he's been like, oh, what damage would it deal? And I was like, probably either force or radiant, maybe a combination of the two. I don't know. It wouldn't just be fire. Ooh. Ooh, I'm excited. I don't I've been trying to figure out how. I know what DM Speedy wants to show, but I don't know how he wants to show it. So I was like, I mean, he could. Thanks for the follow. I know you. I also fixed my emotes because you guys are making hype trains, and I realized it was still default. Sorry, not emotes. Reactions from Streamlabs and stuff. I realized it was given default, and I don't like that. So I
We don't
fixed all
appreciate it like
the
that.
gift sub ones.
Look at you streaming.
I know.
Look at you doing the thing.
You guys are making
look
me
at you
feel like a
folks.
professional.
Well, you know, if folks are here tuned in to their Warlock patron's favorite stream.
Oh, Warlock patrons. I gotta work on that.
I do too. I think for me, the toss-up is between. I have some pre-made characters that aren't in sheets. That are from a campaign that I'm also going to share a tool that I made for that campaign as a part of it, as a part of my show and tell today.
Ooh.
Yes. And I also thought about sharing my wild magic table. I know you have seen
Oh,
it,
son of
but
a
I thought
bitch!
I
Sorry.
thought today might be a good day to show off
That's
the
fantastic.
my wild magic table that was made for DM Speedy's campaign that I had mentioned a number of episodes ago. So I might just show that off because the cards are quick.
I said son of a bitch because I was like, oh, I could have made my life so much easier instead of making the whole handout and getting ready to hand it out. I could have just showed off the Verdun table. Son of a bitch!
I'm okay to hand out my wild magic table.
Okay. I like that. I like it a lot. I figure that
there's some stuff to that, so
I'll do show and tell last because I can talk forever about my players and my campaign. Is it Whitey? Wait a minute. Hold on. You have an albino turkey?
Hello.
I love that that's the thing that surprised you. Hey.
Hello. How are you?
Good. How's it going?
What's going
Pretty
on?
good. Albino turkey. Does it have red eyes? Because if so, I say we turn it into a... There are white turkeys? What? You're just blowing my mind. I was going to say, if it has red eyes, that's the Warlock patron.
It's like what's that movie? The Vivitch? No one's seen that movie. Where it turns out that the goat is the goat might be evil. I'm just imagining it's that, except instead it's just albino.
Everyone
It's just an
thinks it's
albino
evil,
turkey.
but it's just an albino. Okay, I would watch that. It's gotta be like a Tucker and Dale type situation too, where everyone's just dying. It's not
Like,
doing
people are
anything.
dying. It's nothing to do with the turkey. But because the turkey's albino, everyone's just like, it's that fucking turkey. That's my pitch.
I would watch that movie. I still need to see Slaughterhouse.
Movie's amazing.
Oh, yes. Pretty good. What do you want to show off today?
Oh, I'm sorry. Go on.
No, what were you gonna say? No, you said you had something to show today.
Well, I was gonna ask, did I miss the show and tell?
Nope.
Oh no, we haven't officially gotten started yet. We were, I think,
Okay, cool.
waiting for more people to pile in slowly.
Just making
but-
sure.
You're
No,
good.
you're good. I feel like the first 15 minutes of your stream too are always just like give everybody a chance to settle in.
Yeah. I don't know why I'm typing. Obviously, you guys can hear me. I don't know. I don't know why I was going to type it. I used to join every voice chat ever with "Sup, sluts," and I haven't said it in so long that you saying "Hi, sluts" is like, are you past me?
No, you're the slut now.
Oh, damn it! Yeah, I figure I'll go last for show and tell. So whatever you guys want to do, we'll let you in.
Did you want to go or did you want me to go, Clubs?
What'd you say?
Yeah,
I mean,
I guess we're gonna start
someone
off.
wants to go, I'll jump in after.
Okay. Well, shoot, hold on. Let me finish chewing salad really quick.
I'm so excited for this. Are you using your feed bag?
I might be.
Oh, well, we were doing
Don't.
the thank you stream last week. I was playing with Grimjack. We're playing Marvel Rivals. It's a shooter. You need both hands to play, but he was just chomping on chips while he was like walking down the street in Rivals and shooting. And like all of a sudden my brain processed, how is he eating chips if he's shooting? Like he needs both hands. So I go, do you have a feed bag? And he just started laughing, and I was like, I don't understand. You can't be doing both. And he was like, I just put down the controller, and I'm like, we're in the middle of a match.
I'm just imagining though that like in Grimbo's mind, he's like, yo, this is totally normal though. Like this is just what you do. And in your mind, you're like, are you consuming food? We're dying. He's like, yeah, man. It's all good. You're not dead yet.
Feed bag is funny. Can't not know that. All right, I'm gonna look up a song on here that's supposed to be played during Chaos for this Wild Magic table.
All right, let me pull up this Wild Magic table and send it to you, so that everyone can follow along.
Yeah.
Bear with me.
Technically, all of you Twitch subs, like I said, I didn't know that they upped the price. So technically, you're all members of the pack. You should all have access to both the music overhaul sheet and the repository. So if you want it, let me know and I will send it to you. Because I don't think I can send a link as a reward like I can on YouTube.
You can't?
I don't think so, but I could be wrong.
Give me a second.
You're all good.
I had it, and now I've lost it again. Hate everything. Where did you
Oh, I
go?
hate where I just hide everything. I totally understand.
Yeah, I've put things in what I considered organized spaces. The joke is, I consider it organized.
I think I'm gonna go back to chaos, or maybe chaotic. No. I also just like the idea of a song called "Just Married." What are we marrying? Chaos.
Here we go. Shaboom. Did it drop in the chat? Upload.
Bloop.
So you can share it on the stream.
Or alternatively, we can go with bumbling. Oh, thank you, a PDF. Easy peasy. Thank you for opening. Oh, well, still didn't do it. You jerk. You
I know,
jerk.
right? If only I made things simple.
Oh, easy peasy. Boop. Sorry,
All
y'all.
right.
1 sec. And then you'll be able to see it too. Oh, you're so good at tables, dude.
This is very early tabling.
Oh, you're
So
fantastic.
this is like
There we go.
this is before I fell in love with tables.
Oh.
When I was just a fledgling. When I was but a carpenter.
I see. Oop,
That's
nope,
the
too
best way
far.
to put it.
Bloop, there we go.
But tis I, DM Shin, and today for show and tell, I'm gonna be showing off a wild magic table. It is very meme heavy, as I got the feeling that that was going to be the case.
Fair.
This was for DM Speedy's campaign that I happen to play here with clubs in. And my character being a barbarian with a single level in sorcerer, since we all start at level 1. I think I mentioned on the stream before that my character happened to have a terrible, terrible lineage. And I had a character that happened to be cursed with the single level of wild magic sorcerer that triggered on sneeze. Only for such a natural occurrence, it's only normal that I, being the fledgling DM at the time that I was. Actually, I don't even think I think I just started my foraying into DMing at that point too. I made a wild magic table, and I made it about as wild as it was. There are a number of references to things that were hilarious to me at the time that still hold some weight. I almost wish Speedy or DM Lacara were here to witness this, especially DM Lacara because I think she'll get a kick out of this, but definitely Speedy so that he could relive the moments. But I took a classic wild magic table and I followed the formula for a wild magic table, which is certain percentage of it is really positive, certain percentage of it is really negative. There's a couple of like super powerful effects in either direction, but for the most part, a bulk of it is just weird things that just occur. It doesn't always have to cause damage or cause you a debuff. Sometimes the oddity of what's happening is just odd enough for the situation because you have to imagine it's wild magic. So this is happening as you're casting a spell. Naturally, though, I stuck to certain rules, and there are and the biggest rule I stuck to was there are not 100 individual effects. That would be ridiculous.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I have done it nowadays. Back then, I still had sense. So a lot of these are based on 2 different numbers based on your roll. Outside of a couple that are just kind of like number specific. You can guess some of them. Others are just silly references. But let's start off. All of these are done with a D100 and a D10, both rolled simultaneously. And my stipulation was these effects can trigger on cantrips and spells, as well as occur once every other turn when the caster is below 10% HP. And on a final death save, you must roll your wild magic table.
Oh.
Because you let out one triumphant sneeze, and who knows what happens then. But let's get started. So number one, if you roll in that one, your character shifts control with mysterious force from within. In my case, my character being a bugbear, he had a deep connection with a powerful force. But as a joke, I put there for myself, Lord Usopp, is that you? If you don't know One Piece, you don't know Usopp. That's just the best way to put it. Like I said, it's gonna be meme heavy, and I'm not apologizing for it.
No.
But for 2 to 3, you become colorblind until your next long rest, and in addition, you have trouble hearing as if your ears are being covered. You no longer need to breathe if you get a 4 to 5. You become encased in crystal for 1d4 rounds on a 6 to 7. It functions as a resilient spear surrounding the caster's space, but prevents the caster from moving or speaking, and there are no saving throws allowed. On an 8 or a 9, you cast Magic Missile as a 5th level spell. It just happens to be shaped like a nose. For 10 for 10 to 11, you decrease by 1 size category for the next hour. 12 to 13 grants you haste, which is powerful if you think about this at level 1.
Yeah.
But on a spellcaster at level 1, having haste is not as helpful. On a bugbear barbarian, absolutely. But again, it's also on a 12 or a 13. You shoot rainbows out your eyes. 14 to 15, you literally get a giant explosion of energy. I went with the old classic 1d4 for fire to acid, and then I added sonic and force damage because they're just not really represented at all. But they were just in there just for fun. It's a simple 1d6 explosion around you. It's a thunder wave spell with random elements. You get the inverse of 10 or 11, where you go up in size. You get disadvantage. A lot of these are interesting. I feel like the only fun way to make this work and explain this to you, Okami, is you should just roll a random D100 die on the stream and just see what pops up at this point. I feel like you just have to. I feel like you have to demo this in live action.
No dice by me, which is crazy.
Oh, but what if we did this? Online dice roller.
Ooh, that we can do.
A D&D dice roller. Oh. And now we just roll the dice. So you roll the dice, tell me what you get, and we'll see what we get.
I'm gonna switch the screen over so nobody thinks I'm fudging my rolls. Are they allowed to use like the real dart, the real art?
I don't know. I don't know if that's legal. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I got a 90.
All right, a 90.
We're going back over here. You're right. Awaz, you're right. I'm gonna find one. I'm gonna find one of them dice roller bots. We need it. You're right.
We do. You get the deeper darkness effect and a silence effect cover the caster for 2d4 rounds, noting that you're now legally blind.
True. I love this.
What's that?
I'm blind. I'm blind. Well, specifically the stipulation, especially in like the world of D&D, to say I'm legally blind is so much funnier. As if there's like a council somewhere that would declare you legally blind.
It's a hidden Waterdeep council that secretly just pops up and it's just like, hey, you're officially blind now. Congratulations. You get no benefits. But we better not catch you outside at night in the town of Waterdeep committing any tomfoolery.
Oh. Your 100 can level up the whole party, not just you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the last three are very interesting. 98 is the DM's choice. So you roll a 98, the DM chooses what happens. Completely up to the DM. The only thing it cannot do is kill the party or a player directly. Okay. A 99 is a very specific reenactment. The player only video there, I feel like I need to know what I put there going back in time, because knowing me, it's some. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, it's exactly what I thought it was.
Is it something I can play on stream?
I mean, it's 12 seconds, but yes, I don't know if you'll get demonetized for it for a Macho Man Randy Savage talking about slugging. The idea of 99 is that the Macho Man Randy Savage does a chaotic elbow drop from the heavens and just screams, "Oh yeah!" So everything in here is flavored for exactly what I want it to be. That's the reference that I need it to be. So a DM rolls 1d4, and that many turns, the target chosen at random rolls DC 14 dex saving throw or takes 10d10 bludgeoning damage and is knocked prone. The user and two others are placed under the aid spell effect and find 1d4 rations in their pocket. So the rations are Slim Jims after he completely elbow drops people. Like I said, it was my first time and I was having fun.
Yeah.
But 100 is absolutely that the player gets to choose. But it can't exceed the restraints of the wish spell, even though it can gain a level for the entire party, like you noted. Sometimes, I think it was U Clubs that said that the sword of wish, or like any kind of wish sword, like the magical item, it has usually 2 out of 3 charges and is really meant to be used in a way, especially in older D&D, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, Club. Older D&D used wish as like a one-time, hey, you can do whatever you like, but never again in this entire campaign kind of spell, right? Like that was the idea of wish.
I sort of don't know. I think wish was oftentimes seen in a few ways. Always in a way where it's like a monkey's paw sort of way, right? I think that's the right way to say it. Where if they don't word it right, then they get a little too greedy, then it gets like you get a screwy result. Things go awry.
Right.
But there are some surefire ways of using it, I think, where it's like, I want more power, and you gain a level, things like that. I'm pretty sure Wish, maybe I'm wrong, could only be cast once.
Yeah,
So
I think the stipulation is that like you can only ever cast it once, and then you forget the spell.
So the kind of magic that Dungeons and Dragons uses is called Vancian magic. Have you ever heard of that?
No. Please tell us more. I love when you do this.
Vancian magic is based off of a like magic idea from this author Jack Vance's stories, particularly the Dying Earth series. And I read the first Dying Earth book last year because I wanted to get to the bottom of this, and it's actually very cool. But spells are like living things that when you quote prepare them or memorize them, they take form in your brain. And wizards need to be powerful enough. Magic users need to train in order to hold higher level spells or more spells in their head, right? Like they slip out. They're magical. They're like living. Think of them like you got a fish bowl and you got fish swimming around in your fish bowl now, and those are the spells. And when you cast them, they're these like living spells come out of your head. And in the book, The First Dying Earth, this wizard, this magic user, wants to get to another planet, basically, wants to get to this other place. So they have a spell that they've been saving that they can, like every wizard can cast if they learn it, but you can only ever cast it once. And he's been saving it for like this moment. And so he casts it, and he'll never be able to rememorize that particular spell again.
Oh.
Because, for whatever reason, I don't remember if it's even explained. But
in older games like DRPGs or dungeon, like first-person dungeon crawling RPGs or CRPGs, they're sometimes called. I know that anytime they invoke the idea of wish, sometimes it's called Ragnarok, or like the idea is that like it's so powerful that you just never can use it again idea. It's always done in a way also, I think, that it's like, hey, you've achieved this ultimate power, you've used it. If you want to use it again, you've got to get back to this level again.
Well, you got to find something else, right? You find a wish amulet, or you find this, like you find other sources, right?
Yeah, or you find or the idea of like that wizard who has the wish spell, or any wizard has a wish spell, is literally pocketing it for like the end times. Like if he uses that wish spell,
for some reason, in a world where you can't cast it more than once, you might think twice.
Oh,
That's a good one.
Oh.
Hello, DM Lacara.
DM Lacara, what's up? You came just in time.
I have missed you guys.
Welcome back.
Welcome
back.
What was I just in time for?
So
Hearing
we're
about
going
wish.
through the wish spell. We're going through my wild magic table. I created a wild magic table ages ago. I think I shared with you and Okami.
I started reading it. I love it.
And we're just kind of going through some of them. But we were actually talking about the wish spell and having clubs here explain the wish spell. But also, have we had the two of you guys on stream at the same time? Has this happened?
Yes.
The first time.
Okay, cool. I'm just blanking on things now.
That's all gravy.
So many people.
I also didn't realize I looked up wish when I started the campaign, because obviously Grimjack was like, I'm a wish, and I was like, I don't think you are. But like the unless you do exactly what the wish spell says, it has like terrible repercussions for your body. And if you use it like twice, like your body is irrevocably broken.
Well, there's a system of D&D, I don't remember which it is, where like when you cast spells, you roll a chance to like have your spell mutate on you.
Oh, that's what a wild magic sorcerer should be.
Which one was it that where Jor got like a frog arm? Which one was that?
Oh man, I think I don't remember exactly what we were playing, but that's one of my lowest moments as a GM ever.
What?
Why? Wait, I love the frog arm. Oh, that's right. I forgot about that moment. The frog arm was great though.
Yeah.
We
had just started. It was like the first session of Old School Essentials. That's what it was. And you guys had found treasure, and we rolled up random treasure on the spot. It was so fun. We had stars in our eyes. And he was a magic user, and he got a scroll, and I rolled it because like there's like you just roll for the treasure in there. Like in the old versions of the game, you had treasure tables that was like told you exactly what you got, and you rolled it up randomly. And I rolled this random scroll, and I rolled that it was cursed, and then there's no roll for what it does, but it gives some examples if I remember correctly, and it listed 6 examples. So I said out loud, roll a d6, and he rolled for 1, and it got instant death.
Oh.
And then I waffled on it, and I was like, no, you can't die. That sucks. Like, that's after I said he died.
Oh.
And this was the first session of this thing, and I was like, look, I didn't know that was an option, and we gave him a frog arm or something as a curse. But since then, that's my lowest moment. He should have died.
Yeah. Just let him move on before he's too attached to the character.
Die. And
Yeah.
from that, I mean, this was years ago at this point. So I don't waffle anymore. I try not to.
No, people die nowadays.
People die.
Can confirm. Have died multiple times.
I feel like
that was low for me though.
I think I did a delving into your DMs on this, but I feel like there's like a if you have someone brand new to TTRPGs and it's like their first or second session and you're worried that killing them is going to make them stop playing, I feel like that's the only time I'm going to waffle. Like if it's someone brand new and they don't really understand what's going on and I kill them, I'll be sad that they'll quit playing forever. But like once I know you won't quit playing forever, I'm gonna kill you.
Somebody told me that's the wrong way to do it, and here's why they said so.
The wrong way to do it, personally, but we can all have our own philosophy.
Yeah. But they said that this is the wrong way to do it because they said if you take away the chance at death, you take away the full range of the game. And they said that if their first character dies, you just get them to roll a new character on the spot. Like you don't let them sit there and like take themselves out the game. You're like, all right, cool, roll a new character because that guy was probably level 1. It was your first chance, your first try. Because the guy then went on to tell me that we romanticize our first character. And we forget that our first character is also learning the rules of the game.
Oh, interesting.
So we're bound to fail, but that's how we learn to succeed.
Yeah,
in a D&D environment.
I don't pull any punches. So if you do something silly and die right in the first session, let's try to learn from that because it's going to happen eventually, and it's going to hurt worse in the 5th session.
As somebody who had a character that was killed in the first session and was brought back twice and then died like a year later.
Did it
Can confirm it hurts. Yeah. But also, like, I feel like as long as you tell the person, if they're brand new to it, if you tell the person, look, there's a non-zero chance that you could die, like, just to have a backup, then that's fine. Pull no punches.
Yeah.
Like,
I agree.
Don't, like, sucker punch them. Don't let them, like, handcraft this perfect first character and then be like, oh, you died, that sucks. Moving on.
Yeah, that's
no.
Or let them not die, just get knocked down, and then angrily like grab you and have him pull you over and be like, "You're gonna help me make my next character," before they're even dead, like Grimjack, the first time he went down.
No, you kill certain characters. There are certain handcrafted, carefully created characters that you kill. And then you hand everyone a character sheet that's just like, here's who you are. Welcome to learning the game.
I am true neutral as a referee, which I like to call myself. So I really just want it to be the dice that decide things. I don't even want to make any decisions during the game. I will, and I do. But I want to leave it so much up to not me, because death is around the freaking corner. Like, we play that at 0 HP. We've cemented this in last session when it had to happen again. We play where when you hit 0 HP, you roll a d6, and on a 1 and a 2, you roll a d6 each round. And on a 1 and a 2, you're dead.
Oh.
This is not modified by anything. So this is a 33.33% chance of dying whenever you go down each round. So that comes up a third of the time. So
Wow.
it's tough noogies.
You get used to it. You get used to it.
Don't go down.
I think.
No
Yeah,
fair play.
Get good.
No, but he's
No
right.
fair fight is my fucking motto. Like, I scratch my head every time the players get into a fair fight. Every time it's like 3 versus 3, or it's 6 versus 6 or something like that, I scratch my head. Like, why aren't you running away?
Listen, you cannot teach pack tactics, okay? They have to be learned on the fly.
It has to be learned.
But it does kind of remind you, I think I said this to you the other day, Clubs, where you kind of have to remember that older D&D is a war game before it's a tabletop RPG, because TTRPGs weren't a thing yet. Like, D&D is the TTRPG. And because those rules were kind of getting formulated, that's why, like, when you look at range attacks in, like, Beckme,
oh, they're huge.
or like, oh, they're ridiculous. It's like plus minus 200 with elevation and like
here, I can describe it. I can describe it. Imagine so you guys know 5e range stuff for weapons, right? There's like short range, long range, whatever. Well, in older editions, there's 3 ranges. I think I mentioned this in the past. There's short range, normal range, and long range. But anyway, when you're outside and when you can arc a shot, like when you have no ceiling, those all those numbers, like all the distances in feet, become distances in yards.
Oh.
So you can there's like 2 shooting modes implied by the rules. There's like arcing a shot with your bow and straight shot. And straight shot is much shorter. It's a third of the length of the third of the distance. But outside, if you're like wilderness, right, in a maybe not in a forest because you can't see that far, but you know, in a field, you can shoot fucking really far.
Yeah, you can arc a shot. Like,
you get a
900
bonus to your shot when you're in, and you know, in older editions, those bonuses are few and far between, right? So it's not like nowadays where you have like a proficiency built in and stuff. It's like you're rolling a lot of straight d20s. So getting another +1 just for being in short range is cool, and then that that range triples when you can arc it. So
that's cool.
Well, and then isn't there also elevation bonuses too? Like
that's house ruled very commonly in, I think, all editions, right? I don't believe it's built in. It's really just short range.
I think Beckme had a little blurb on it.
I just saw it for the first time in a stat block somewhere. I forgot what creature I was looking up, but in its actual stat block, it had, if it attacks from a higher elevation than you, it has some bonus. And I was like, huh.
Well,
You were converted.
Yeah, well, but I think it's kind of like the rule's already in D&D. It's the fall damage rule. So if you really think about it, if you just apply the fall damage rule to a falling object, and instead of the object taking damage, any object below said object takes said damage,
Oh my god,
you kind of instantly have drop damage rules.
yeah, I hate when a spell or ability is like, oh yeah, you can drop like a meteor on someone's head. It only does damage to the meteor. I'm like, I just hit him with it. Like, he took it in the face. Why is he not taking damage?
Like, an improvised, you want to say that everything you drop is an improvised weapon? Okay, cool, that's fine. 1d4. But for every every 30 feet you fall?
Every 10 feet is a d6, and then it maxes out at 20.
Okay. 20d6, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you apply the same rules. Every 10 feet is a d4. Past 10, it becomes a d6. And it caps out at 10d6, 10d4.
Oh, I literally, okay, so the Scion class book from Kibbles that I just looked at, Kibbles has a spell called, I think it's Control Gravity or something. It's a first level spell, but it changes the way gravity affects you or some other creature so that you can fall in one direction 500 feet. Because that's normally your total fall speed in one turn. Just shoof, you fall. And the way it's written is, oh, you can grab onto things, but you'll take normal fall damage. But he never wrote, like the way that it's written, at level 1, you can absolutely kill yourself instantly. Just instant death by changing the direction of gravity. But it also doesn't say you can't hurt people. I'm like, if I fell 500 feet on top of someone, it's gonna hurt.
Like, yeah, you're both gonna die.
You can use yourself as a projectile at level 1 and insta-kill both yourself and whatever you're hitting. And I'm like, you didn't think this one through, did you, buddy?
If you want to turn yourself into a self-made rail cannon, then yes. Yes, you could. You know, I don't think that's the best idea or usage of. But, you know, that's also, like I said, I think inadvertently that's the same rule of logic I applied to what happens when you get a 98 on my wild magic table. It's just falling damage. You just multiply it. I just wanted it to be 10d10 because...
Hey, it's fine. Listen. And no, whatever gravity fall, whatever it is, convert gravity. I forgot what it was.
I thought you were going to talk about Bill. I'm not going to be like Gravity Falls. What?
Oh, no. No Bill Cipher here. But no, convert gravity or whatever it's called did not make it into the repository. I am not having my players turn themselves into death bullets. Because they will.
Why not?
And they'll only kill themselves. I 100% guarantee that they will not hit anything. It will just be them.
But to finish up with my wild magic table, we'll do a couple more. So why don't you roll a couple more times? Let's see what we get real quick before we
How about you? You guys roll. Roll a D100.
Anybody want to roll a D100? Tell me what they get. I want a random D100.
I had to use an online dice roller. Yeah, it was like, I have no dice in my room right now.
I have to see where my tiny barbarian hit them.
What'd you get?
80.
80. Let's see. You are surrounded by faint ethereal music for the next 5 minutes, and it's literally bardcore version of War Pigs by Black Sabbath. But just imagine that surrounding you for the next like 5 minutes as you're in the middle of a fight. You just hear War Pigs played on loot.
Dude,
I literally rolled a 1.
Oh, 1. So you would be filled with a mysterious force from within And essentially, you would have been championed. The way I had it written out is I would have swapped the characters. I would have told the DM, or with the GM's permission, swapped my stats with an Asimar that I had created that was literally just 18s for a certain number of rounds, because the idea is that you channel the ultimate being on a nat 1. So everyone will think that it's the worst thing possible until 2 turns later you literally turn into god mode for a second before you depower and take a whole bunch of exhaustion. That's the catch 22. You take
That's
4
great.
levels of exhaustion.
Like, you really,
Yes.
really hope this happens during the boss battle, but like right near the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but like, because this could happen to you because of a sneeze, because of the way my wild magic table was written for my character, I didn't want to sneeze and like transform into the ultimate being, and I was just in the middle of sleep.
Well, you can't sneeze when you're asleep.
You never know. You never know. It's D&D.
This is true.
I was like, wait a minute. You're right. I don't know anyone who sneezes. I've heard plenty of people choke in their sleep, but not sneeze.
Yep.
Give me 3 more numbers. Give me 3 more numbers. Awaz, you got a number for me? You got a D100 around?
I'm gonna find a bot that does dice.
You can also just guess
You
a
just
number.
use your phone.
Oh yeah, just guess
True.
a number too.
Just give, you know the
Any
numbers.
Do I?
Or,
I don't know.
Did you find
Did
the
you guys
dice
do
from
21?
No.
I did not. 21. For the next minute, you regain 5 hit points at the start of each of your turns.
Oh. Regeneration's nice.
Oh.
You know who should be using regeneration? The character that gets knocked down the most. You know who has regeneration? The character that gets knocked down the most in my campaign. You know who never uses regeneration? The character that gets knocked down the most.
54.
Oh.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to put in a vote for Awaz's idea for you to just stream your next session
I'm not
so
gonna
that
lie to y'all.
the rest of us can MST3K it while you're... And you wouldn't be able to hear it, you would just be streaming. And have no idea what we're saying until after.
I am so for this. I am so secretly for this. But 54 AWAS. You roll a D10 and your weight changes by a number of pounds equal to the roll. If the roll is odd, you lose the weight. If the roll is even, you gain it.
The miracle cure.
Instant Ozempic. But only for a maximum of 10 pounds.
Okay, I was like, what if the number you roll to lose is like more than you weigh? Do you die?
Ooh.
Maybe. I don't. Honestly, it might happen.
While I
You're
was
like a
writing
fairy
up
creature.
the handout that I want to give out at some point, I said this at the beginning of the stream that like I've put a bunch of stuff in there that would be useful to other people's groups, like things that you could deal with in regards to my multi-phase boss battle that like my players just completely ignored. But as I was typing it up, I was like, oh, well, I mean, this guy has like limited telepathic control of creatures that are close to its biological makeup. So in my case, it was crocodiles he could control. And then as I was typing it, I was like, oh, if you're playing in a world that has anthropomorphic animal folk, if you're close, he might be able to control you. And I was like, oh my god, that would be amazing!
Wow.
You lose the ability, but you don't need to breathe AWAS for a 5. Ooh.
Oh, that's great.
But the rest of them are simple, a little silly. shots ring out from long distances for damage. On an 84-85, the area in a 3d6 times 10-foot radius surrounding the caster becomes swamp-like terrain for 2d4 rounds. Roll a d20. On a 1 and a 20, an unnamed ogre appears to attack the party. On a 13, a donkey appears with 2d6 rations. Yes.
Did you literally bring Shrek into a D&D game?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Get out.
Yes, I did.
Donkey!
Yes, I did. If you get a 13, Donkey brings you waffles, so you get 2d4 rations. Like I said, I wrote this table, mind you, many years ago. It is chock full of meme references to the brim. I'm going to leave this up for everyone to take as well. Okami, you could definitely throw the file up on anything you want to share it with, or just put it in the video link. It's a silly table for funsies to use the table. It's got plenty of video references that you can check out to links of things, which are mostly bardcore songs. If you've never heard bardcore, you should absolutely type in bardcore and then your favorite song title to see if there's a version of it, because it most likely exists and it definitely slaps.
100%.
Accidentally
Bardcore
introduced the resident bard to that. Have not heard much else since.
I just imagine you're just like, I really like this song, and then out of the other room you just hear that song but in bardcore, and you're just like, I could get used to this version of the song.
Yep.
I haven't got one of those in my recommended in a while, but for a while, like, that was my whole recommended.
Hardcore.
Yeah.
But but definitely, I would say if you're gonna make a wild magic table, stick to the golden ratio of wild magic tables. There is one out there on the internet. I can't remember the exact numbers, but you should use it. It's really cool to stick to. And you start to realize that when you make up 66% of your table is just random gobbledygook, it's fun. It's just fun. Like there's no reason you should have hair that your hair fall out but grow back within 24 hours. But you will.
And it may end up being helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could. You could. I will say my last favorite one that I really enjoyed, that's another reference, is 38 to 40. The caster and one random target lock eyes and are forced into a compelled duel, causing them to walk towards one another for 1d4 rounds or until they were within melee range. Targets do not provoke opportunity attacks, but upon entering melee range, proceed to grab the other's forearms in a greeting. If you've never seen the wonderful movie that is Arnold Schwarzenegger in Predator, the opening scene of him walking in to Carl Weathers is him giving the manliest forearm slap of all time. That is literally what this spell does. What happens if you roll a 38 or 40. In the middle of a fight, you have to walk up and you have to give a dap to somebody that you lock eyes with. Party member, enemy. It could be the BBEG. The way I wrote it is you have to walk up and give them a high five.
Oh man, it's not D&D related, but there was a Welsh guy and an English guy at the birthday party I was at yesterday, and I dapped up all the other people, and then I made the mistake of, because I was in the moment, I went to dap up the Welsh guy, and his hand like turned into jelly after I went to link our fingers together. And he was like, blah, 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 blah. I could see that I broke him. He was not ready for that. It's like, what are you doing to my hand?
You just invoke Can't just invoke the DAP outside. What's wrong with you?
That won't happen with this, though.
But that's what I got for this. And then, like I said, I have a bunch of if there's time at the end, or if anybody, or for another show and tell, I have a bunch of stuff to give people, which are old character pre-generated characters from a one-shot campaign I made.
Oh,
that's so cool.
Yeah.
I never even thought of that. You know who would probably love those, though? Foxinator.
Well then, Foxinator, you might have some cool stuff coming your way soon.
He'll probably make you Hero Forge models for them. That's his jam.
Ooh.
All right, who wants to go next?
I want to see what else everybody got.
You can go. I don't really know how relevant what I have is.
It's all relevant.
It's all relevant.
Okay. All right, hold on.
Yes.
So what I have is one of the older editions, one of the classic editions was a basic set that came out to try to explain the original Dungeons and Dragons. It's called the Holmes Basic Set. I think it came out in '77. I have a picture of it if you here. So this is the picture of the set. I just shared it if you want to use that.
Boink.
And
I
in
sure
it
can.
came with a sample dungeon, which there had been dungeons before, but they aren't really like full dungeons that you can play. Like in the original pamphlets, there was, or not in the original pamphlets, but in one of the supplements for the original pamphlets, which was Blackmore, there was like a Temple of the Frog, which wasn't the Temple of the Frog that became the module later. But anyway, that was kind of a dungeon, but it wasn't like a runnable dungeon. It was like kind of an idea of a concept for a dungeon. This one was like the first like included in the rules dungeon that they came out with. And so I'm not even sure if it had a name in the rules in this booklet. I think it was just called Sample Dungeon. So I wanted to run it, and I sort of have a standard of what I want out of my adventures these days. So I like redid it and made it into a little pamphlet that I printed out so I could run it. And I ran it for Shin.
That's so cool.
But so here I wanted to kind of show it because I think as an adventure, you can use it with any system. You know, like there's stuff about like you know, certain mechanics, but you just use what it is for your system, what it is in 5e. You know what I mean?
Oh, Vin, this is so good. This has
So-
your, I can tell this is your editing style too.
Oh, I don't know what that means.
You even have the bookmarks in here too?
Yeah, well, it sort of was automatic when I made it, but yeah.
That's so cool.
But you could use this to run a little dungeon delve for whoever, and you'd be running a dungeon from 1977, except taken out of this sort of, you know, less modern presentation and put into a kind of more modern presentation. There's no art in the front because I just never did that. I'm not selling it, so it was like
This is
whatever.
theater
It's
of
not
the
mine
mind,
to sell,
people.
so all my steam fizzled out once I got to the cover. But
you got, listen, you managed to get the classic TSR style blue boxes that I loved.
This looks
From the
official,
TSR
my
days.
guy.
Yeah, that's the thing. Your dedication to recreating their craft is fantabulous.
This sort of bites off of that. I mentioned the game Old School Essentials. They're like sort of older style. I really liked it, and so I bit that. And it's kind of a teaching module in a way. So it's sort of, you know, like obviously it's for a classic edition of the game. So things are different. But like I said, you could probably run it and be exactly the same, and it could sort of teach you how to run it as you go. There's little like referee notes and things, and it sort
No.
of breaks it down with like a history of the place, which is sort of not relevant. Take it or leave it. It's completely optional. If you like to have that kind of thing in your game, use it. If not, don't. You can use it. Like if you go to, oh yeah, right there up in the top, use for hooks, rumors, answers for there's a mask in a wall that can talk. You can use it to answer questions as the mask. And then the bad guy's like a magician that's like a thaumaturgist.
Ooh.
And it kind of takes a crazy turn too. It's not just that straightforward. But
the ape. Yep, I recognize this place.
There's an ape. Let me see here, just going through here. I mean, there's your obvious things. There's like ghouls and skeletons and giant rats, right? This is like very typical old school D&D. And there's lots of them because it's kind of big, but we played this in a session and it sort of had a conclusion. So, you know, your mileage may vary. But there's lots of treasure in it. There's like +1 swords, and it's for a first level kind of thing.
This is so cool.
And yeah, it's like a little adventure from 1977, kind of repackaged for people to sort of easily run it. If you go to like, I guess, down a page, or these are spreads. So if you print it on regular paper, probably not this version. You can't just print this PDF. It has to be rearranged. This is just to show the spreads. But if you print it, it's like a little booklet. You just like tilt, you just like fold it in half and it becomes like a little digest size booklet.
That's so cool.
And on each page, it has the rooms, the partial map of the rooms that are shown on the page. So, right up at the top there, it shows a little description of how, the entrance to the place. And then number 1 is like the entrance when you get below and inside. So it has little stat blocks for each of the monsters, but if you're playing 5e, replace it, You have ghouls, and it shows how many. There's 2 ghouls, there's 4 skeletons. Things happen, there's like I said, there's monsters, giant rats, skeletons. Let's see. There's the thaumaturgist and a bodyguard, and the bodyguard is a fighter that was charmed away from pirates that are in a pirate cove later in the dungeon. So there's like a whole pirates thing happening too. And this dungeon is beneath a tower that is like an abandoned tower that has there's a room with stairs up to the tower. And that's where the thaumaturgist lives. And so your players can go up there and find an ape in a cage and a wand of petrification that's hidden there. There's like crazy stuff.
This is so
Anyway.
cool.
Yeah.
Also, keyed maps, very important. WotC, take notes. They're not keying their maps anymore.
Yeah, you gotta key your maps.
Gotta key the map.
That's what it's all about. And the back, when you print it, is the very last page is a nice little wandering monsters chart, so you can make things a little more dynamic. So in old school editions, a turn is a formal thing, and that's 10 minutes. So everything's broken up into 10-minute turns a lot of times. So it says for every 3 turns, but once you know what a turn is, a capital T turn, you can use this whole thing like pretty easily. Every 30 minutes your players spend down there, you roll a die. On a 1, another monster comes through and you get to have some dynamic encounter there. Like berserkers could come in, or a gelatinous cube, or something like that could have been around the corner the entire time. And there's
I love
so
that.
cool.
I love that it remembers that other adventuring parties are also hostile, or potentially hostile monsters that you can encounter down there. But like they also have morale, so like you could piss them off.
So one thing is like, I don't know what you guys do in your games. I have like a central tension that is so central and it's so far out of view. I mean, it's not central at all. It's like central to the world, and the games we play are like very mundane and like village, like dirty food sort of game. But I have a cosmic war that is always going in the back between law and chaos. So dungeons are kind of places where chaos is they're like chaos wounds, they fester, and that's why monsters gather there and stuff like that, right? So if you have some sort of central tension in your game, if you have evil, good versus evil is what you have, right? You have the planes of X, Y, and A, B, and they fight each other. Well, whichever one is the one that involves monsters, there you go. This dungeon is being brought together by that. Like you sort of incorporate your own lore. It's so sort of basic and introductory enough that you can make it your own pretty easily. It describes a loose history of like the area in the past section, but basically that's it. And so if you need a session, here you go. Print it out. Not this version, like I said. 1977. That's pretty arbitrary. That's not a reason to do something, but it's cool. There's sarcophagus with random things in them. There's a sundial puzzle, which is kind of cliche, but there's also a talking mask in the wall, like I said, and there's a workshop. Oh, it's interesting. So that's what I wanted to show and tell.
This is so cool.
And I guess if I could say one other thing, I would
Of course.
say on the first page, not the cover, there's like a little blurb or two that I would sort of go over, not the history. There's like a GM note, "This box is for you" thing. I think on page up to, from what I see. Just so I can, this big box, just to go over some stuff, because this is just sort of kind of encapsulates the spirit of the game at that time too. Like there's a few things about like, this is for fun challenge up to level 3, that kind of thing. Where to place it, but also leaving. The characters may want to go back to town, either to rest up, purchase equipment, or hire NPCs before returning. Like, let them, whatever the reason, they drive the story, let them. That's something that I feel is important to highlight here. And then in the editions I play, there's reactions. So you roll randomly for the reaction of the thing encountered. They're not always hostile. It's a 2d6 roll, and in the middle, it's more of like they're interested than they want to fight. A roll of 2 on a 2d6 is absolutely they want to fucking fight you. But on a roll of 12, they want to help you. They might even join you. So that could be something that happens on anything that you roll a reaction for. There are certain referees, GMs, that roll it for everything. So like skeletons might want to help you, things like that. But then, so in these editions, like I said, it's a little harsh. We have, 2 in 6 chance that you die when you're at 0 HP every round. So about the reactions, it's you roll those reactions so that if they don't have a behavior described, not every encounter becomes predestined for this violence, which you should allow players to mitigate as well. And that's this last point here. Either by sneaking or running away. I'm just reading this, but setting up traps or ambushes or talking their way out of it. Obviously, let them try. That way you do not have to pull any punches when the blade goes in. You don't have to wobble. Because you let them try everything they can, and if they just press W and walk into things, then that's on them. And you've really tried to put it in their court. Do what you can to try to get out of something. Get every advantage you can. And then the last thing I want to say, which is also about this sort of style, is this next blurb, empty areas. There are many barren rooms in here, and that's the point. That's like sort of a big thing. A third of the rooms in old school dungeons are empty, and it's like literally to waste your time because you're counting every 30 minutes. So every 30 minutes you might find a monster. So maybe that room actually isn't empty. That's where the gelatinous cube was, you know? Or your players, you know, in old editions, every hour in the dungeon you have to rest or you start getting exhausted too. So you have to take 10 minutes at one turn to rest. So that's a good place to rest, you know? All these like empty spots don't always have to be filled as well. It's fucking scary and creepy enough to just walk into an empty room in a dungeon, let alone you know. So anyway, I'm done talking. Thank you.
No, that was
No,
fantastic.
this is sick.
I also the like the idea that there's not like there doesn't have to be stuff in all the dungeons, especially if it's like a dungeon that has been like if there's other adventurers in there, maybe they've looted something already. There's canonically in 5e, the biggest dungeons always have items in them because Elminster goes into dungeons after adventurers have raided them and puts new magic items in them. Like that's one
hilarious.
of his jobs.
That's hilarious. But there you go. You just have background lore for you to run this. There you go. You got a hot tip on where Elminster just restocked, and so did this thaumaturgist. But you know you don't say that.
True.
But anyway, if anyone wants to play this, I encourage it. It's a lot of fun. If anyone wants to, if you guys want to run through it, I'd be happy to do that too.
That would be fun.
The answer is yes, John. The answer is yes.
Stop laughing at Amos.
You said it like you said no, but I'm laughing at Vin because he said it like he was selling drugs. Like, oh, run there.
No, listen. Finn is real good at saying the thing to make this end. Like, why do we have guns? I rented a taxi.
Hold on, the only DM I've ever seen go, I'm done now, thank you. It's true. It's true.
I bowed. You couldn't see it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did you humble bow? Did you? I feel like you had to hit the humble bow real quick.
My forehead was lower than my pelvis.
Borderline.
This is fantastic. This is legitimately some of the best work I've ever seen from the homebrew community.
Oh man, thank you. Well,
This is
it's not mine
fantastic.
really.
It is.
Professor Holmes, he wrote it. I just repackaged it.
You did a great job repackaging.
Yeah, this is way better than anything I've ever done.
This is
so
tastefully
cool.
done.
10 out of 10 would play.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
real. This
Well,
is
there you go.
yes. Dang.
One day in the future, your classic games correspondent, that's me.
Your
Will
classics games correspondent. I love this. I love this. Classic games correspondent. I feel like you need to put that on a card somewhere.
I don't know the legality of this, to be completely honest, because again, it's from this old product that I assume Wizards of the Coast in some ways owns now, right? Because they
Well,
own...
not really, because not all of the home stuff I think they picked up.
But like,
because they
do
would have
own the
rehashed
word
this by now.
gelatinous cube.
Oh, some of the monster names, yeah. Some of the monster names probably are under them,
So-
but that just means we gotta throw the license in. I also didn't throw the license in my hand. I don't think I threw the license in the first handout I gave out.
The license is gonna be longer than the fucking.
I hate
have it
that
printed
shit.
out, like right here in front of me. It's like
Oh,
very
yes.
I hate that
three
shit.
pieces of paper.
I bought a set of condition cards the other day, and at the back of the condition cards is like 7 condition cards that just have the license broken up on them. I was like, ugh, waste my time. Listen, one day, hopefully we'll have like a nice little office area, and we can all sit behind our things and just throw the thing. I wanna have the space to make a table like Play on Tabletop has, where like they just do war games, and like their setup is one of, oh, okay, this is gonna sound mean, but I don't mean it in a mean way. It is the most like normal looking setup I've ever seen of like the professional grade people who make videos and streams, and like minus the wall of green screens that they have, like their game table plus 3 cameras, I could do that. I just need the space for it.
I think though that there's something to that where you realize that sometimes all you need is the simplicity of it all.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, hey, you don't need the, explosion graphic. It's like sometimes you just need that very simple backdrop.
Yeah. I'm like someone to run the thing, like someone who's not actively playing. I made a comment to Jack DT because he's the one that introduced me to Play on Tabletop. I was like, okay, I can see their setup working, but the problem is you need an extra guy. And literally, as I said, you need an extra guy, he was like, I think they have one. And then the camera switched over to the guy in front of all the monitors who's changing the cameras. And I was like, yeah. We just need, like, I'll be that guy at the beginning if we need it. But like, yeah, you need the people playing and then the people who are behind the monitors.
But you need that guy.
Yeah. Oh my God. We'll take some. I mean, I'm not going to say no to fan art. It's not going to be no. I also, I was talking to my ex who's also an artist, and I was like, is there because I'm not in your community, I don't know what like the social niceties are. I was like, is there like a special contract you fill out if you're working with an artist to do like fan art for you that will be on like stuff for you later? And my ex was like, I mean, you pay us more. And I was like, okay, but there's not like, and she's like, yeah. He's like, yeah, you will fill out some form that has a checkbox somewhere that'll be like, yeah. And I was like, yeah.
It's like, I just need to know where to find the form.
Yeah.
Where do I find form G76?
Just make this easy for me, please. We do use some of their artwork in the Discord. The sexy doll bending over is their artwork. And that's not a generic statement. Sexy doll is actually a character from Illbleed, which is a horror game. And there's a level where you have to fight evil Sonic the Hedgehog named Zodic the Edgehog, and a child got cancer, I think is the story, and died, and he took your girlfriend. You're basically Woody from Toy Story. He stole your girlfriend because they put it in the coffin with him, and you have to go down to hell to get your toy back, your toy girlfriend. And her name is actually Sexy Doll. It's just a girl bent over. It is the weirdest game ever. But I love it.
Statement.
If you like survival horror games, you will like Illbleed. Back in the day, I told you the other day we were having this conversation in the Discord. We used to have a lot of furries in at least the YouTube before I was on Twitch. The same like 7 furries that were on every video, being like, "You're one of us," and I'd be like, "I just like bloody roar."
No, you're one of them.
But, DM Lacara, do you want to go next?
Sure, I am trying to get a map. I have so many maps, but it's a map and like the intro stuff for the world. But since the intro stuff for the world includes talking about the geography, it doesn't make a lot of sense without the map. The problem is I have all of my maps are like the hidden maps that you're not allowed to know about because there's stuff on it that you haven't discovered yet. So I'm trying to find a scrubbed one.
I understand. I understand.
This is the difficulty of running this with Okami on the chat. Here we go. This one will work. Oh, it's larger than the size limit.
Yep.
I always have to edit like what I talk about Taveia because like I don't want to say stuff you can't know about.
I feel that.
Okay, I need. Oh, well, this one. Damn it. Okay, well, here's the background thing, and then. Okami, I think I might have to email you the map. Hang on.
Bloop. There we go.
Okay.
Is this one still on my desktop? No. Yes.
Okay. It's still on your desk. I didn't even need to drop this in the chat. Okay. Yes, so this is just this is the initial file that I gave everyone to launch our campaign. This is all of the beginning background information on the homebrew world that I created for our campaign. So I'm not going to like read through this line by line. But I wanted to include like I feel like the main thing that a lot of campaigns miss out on is like there's usually like a couple of paragraphs that tell you your intro stuff or that your DM tells you. That's like the intro information that you need to know about whatever the main conflict is that your characters are going to like be taking part in, and then it zooms into like you walk into a tavern. But if there's anything about the actual world and the way that it functions, your players end up bumbling around for like forever being like, how do I pay for things? Like what day of the week is it? So I wanted to give everyone that kind of background information first so that when I gave like a date or something, it made sense from the beginning.
No, that's actually really cool. Not to cut you off, but that's something that I didn't think about in 5e at first, but when it got introduced to me playing older editions with clubs and stuff like that, and we started to learn about like, oh, it's this day of the week. Oh, it's that day of the week. You know what I mean? Oh, it just so you guys know, today is in one campaign we used like Grom Dane and Sir Dane and stuff like that. And it happened to be that like certain days all our characters happened to die. So like there was just happened to be one day of the week that every character died on. And we would like literally fear it. And it became a point in our campaign. We'd be like, hey, so what day of the week is it? And like you would check the campaign notes and you'd be like, oh, sorry guys, it's that
not
day
going
of the
anywhere
week.
today.
We're like, yeah, no, literally, that was us. Like, we're not adventuring. We do not adventure on this day. And like, it became a point where like new characters we made, we were just like, part of their religion is they just don't adventure on this day. Like we were swearing this day off.
Yep.
Like we swore this day off.
That's amazing. But yeah, and it becomes part of your world, like, and it becomes part of that feeling like you're actually living in it. And that's To be fair, I don't think anybody has actually referred to a day of the week in the year and a half that we've been playing, but the information's there.
I only started like having to monitor the days, not necessarily the days of the week, but I have to monitor the date in time in my campaign. I started doing it like 4 years in when people started asking questions, and I was like, oh, now I have to keep track of this.
Yeah. Yeah, so the... No, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's something that I realized I had to create after you asked about it when we were playing Cardinal. You were just like, "Hey, so like, what do I know about the universe?" And that was just like your intro question. In my head, I was just like, "You're right. There's a whole section of this world that you just know inherently that you don't know right now,
Yep.
and it's just like that little bit of blurb that you normally kind of spit out. It really does change the way the world works for your players."
Yep. Yeah. And a little goes a long way, like in that initial setup. Like you can be like, this, and this works normally. Like whatever kind of like system, like this is unchanged. However, here's the bits that are like unique.
How many
But
moons are there?
6.
There's 6 moons in the sky?
Yeah.
We have a lot of moons.
Does that have any sort of effect on like the planet, or is that where magic comes from?
So yeah, I was gonna jump into the moons because they're kind of central to everything. So there are currently 6 moons, some of which are in a semi-shattered or shattered state, others of which are still intact, that are spread out equally across the like ecliptic of this world, the plane of the sky. Which is totally unrealistic for orbital mechanics, but we're going to leave that alone for right now.
It is magic. It's fine.
It's magic. You would be shocked how long a discussion we had about this, but that's because
there's only 2
almost
of
the
us.
entire party except for Okami and one other person are all in STEM. So there were a lot of questions about the
When they're
orbits.
talking, me and the other guy who's not in STEM just said gifs of "yeah, science" back to each other.
Yeah.
But
Magic. So there, in this world, it's basically run by 6 goddesses that are roughly elemental. The only 2 exceptions to your usual like fire, water, earth, air. There are 2 other ones, which are space, which is Lacara, which is who I go by,
Hi.
and Anima. Hey. And Anima, who's like spirit or soul, like, you know, divine spark, whatever you want to call it. And so the 6 of them, the backstory, Okami, if you want to scroll down to religions and mythology, I included a snippet from a mythological poem that explains like basically what happened to the world in kind of flowery and obscure and mythologized terms. There's an actual history that goes along with this, but it got remembered and turned into a myth, and the party is now kind of trying to figure out what actually happened. But basically an external influence came in and screwed with the moons and the orbit and introduced a just Ayahuasca's comment.
100%.
messed with everything and introduced a comet to the system that comes back every 100 years basically and drops crystals on the planet every 100 years. The moons, the goddesses have become kind of trapped on their moons. They used to be on the planet, but because of this interference, they've become trapped on their respective moons. And the party just very recently discovered the goddesses are also being starved. So they're weakening. Mm-hmm.
Starved of, not of food, but of energy or something?
Yeah, basically. So it's a world tree cosmology.
Mm.
And the connection to the world tree is what feeds them, like their elemental essence, basically, that keeps them going. And their connection to the world tree has been disrupted in an as yet undisclosed way.
It's a very fully realized theme. I think it all pretty much flows very well with itself. You've certainly given it a lot of thought.
Thanks. Yeah, I tried. I am a mythology nut, so this was kind of just rewriting all the stories into one.
Just filing the serial numbers off. And
Yeah.
fucking them all together.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Definitely.
I mythology transformered the crap out of it. And then Scott, if you want to pull up the map, I sent you the one with the crystal fall pattern.
Oh.
So the comet comes by and drops these crystals along the same path on the planet every 100 years, and it goes.
Wow.
They've discovered. What's that?
I was about to ask about the economy of the planet because of that.
Yeah. So the crystal is used interchangeably with money that's developed over time. The most of the planet is run by something called the arcanocracy, which is basically, it's like a giant. It's kind of run like the UK. There is a figurehead monarch, but it's mostly run by a royal council of one representative from each of the main like types of magic. You've got like a head wizard, a head sorcerer, a head, go down the line.
Okay.
Except druids. It's not because I was hating on druids, Shin. It's because they have a very separate and very special role.
How come druids aren't? Shit! Immediately, I turn to what's wrong with druids? What's going
on? Yeah. So it's mostly run by the council, and throughout the bureaucracy that runs most of the empire, if you go to school, if you're not inherently magical, if you are inherently magical, great, you can get a job, in the bureaucracy immediately. If you're not inherently magical, you can go to a magic school and learn something, like barding or wizardry or something. And then you don't have to be a very high level one, you just need to know the basics, and then you can get a job in the bureaucracy. So that's how most of the area that is under the crystal fall, which is that blue kind of swath on the map, is run by the Talithian Empire, and that's how that runs. The crystals fall every 100 years. They are immediately scooped up, for the most part, by the government and taken to the central storehouses, and then they're just like swapped into the economy, basically, along with currency. They're run pretty much the same way. And the special thing about the crystals is that they dissolve instantly on contact with water. They are completely magic resistant, like you cannot do magic to them. If you step into a transportation circle with a pocket full of crystal, you will get transported and the crystal will be sitting in the middle of the circle. And you won't be there anymore. But they channel magic. You can do magic with them. And it makes magic a lot easier. The mental and emotional toll to do magic on this planet before the crystals occurred, there was a previous civilization, it was much, much higher. The previous civilization collapsed because of how much easier using the crystals made doing magic. It was a
Okay.
complete catastrophe. So, again, the nature of which still has not been revealed. But it's like 15,000 years after the comet started coming around. So now there's a very stable empire. The crystal collection and everything is very smooth for the most part. And people, it has actually become taboo. It has become unthinkable to do magic without the crystals.
Is there like punishment issued to people who do, or is it just kind of like looked down upon?
It's the way we look at cannibalism.
Gotcha.
there is definitely punishment for it, but it's to the point where like basically nobody openly espouses using magic without the crystals, and pretty much nobody remembers how to do it without the crystals.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's not even, it's not like there are a few very secret pockets of people who do know how to do magic without the crystals, but they keep it very, very quiet. And the druids, in fact, rejected the crystals from the beginning and went into permanent hiding on the planet because as it became more and more taboo, and they were like, hell no, we know better, they secluded themselves more and more. So they are still extant, but they keep their existence and their identities very, very much under wraps.
Good job, druids. Good job. Good plan. Good plan.
Hey, they didn't go through a portal, so I'm happy about it.
Scattered Orpa, the Kingdom of Elfos, and Boggerland.
Mm-hmm.
What it is, I assume that the blue, I think I heard you say, was where the crystal falls?
Yep.
Okay, so they don't get any crystal.
They do not.
So that probably sucks for them.
Yeah, my people live in the
so
woods. My character's from Boggerland.
Yeah, Okami comes from like way, way north in Boggerland. So Boggerland actually has a formal government, and they trade for the crystal. They don't collect it themselves, but they just trade for it.
Wow,
so
that's a big journey.
Yeah, it is. But there are well-established trade routes for them. So Boggerland gets that. Scattered Orpa and even the Cleonine Marches, they both tend to be mostly nomadic groups, like hunter-gatherer types who, for the most part, do not do magic. In fact, when the Telithian Empire moved in on the Cleonine Marches and was like, hey, can we pick up these crystals? They were like, yeah, sure. Why do you want them?
Like, I guess.
Yeah. And the Kingdom of Elfos is where all the elves are, not a creative name.
Hey, it works.
And they are so isolationist that nobody knows what they do for crystal, or if they use crystal, or like what they do. That like just nobody knows what goes on in Elfos. For the most part. So that's a little patch of mystery in the world that nobody's really poked at yet. And so that is the basic background of the world, and the campaign starts all around the Empire. The Night of the Crystal Fall is like a huge festival. Like everybody, goes out in the streets. There's like they sell like rock candy colored to look like the crystal, and like the kids get to stay up late, and from the longer lived races, the older ones get to like sit around and tell stories of previous crystal fall parties and stuff. And so everybody's like hanging out. and the comet doesn't come.
Oh shit.
For the first time in 15,000 years, there's no more crystal.
Oh, so they're panicked.
Yep.
They're like, what do we even do? Like, I'm just
Yep.
imagining I'm just imagining like, if anyone's ever seen Parks and Recreation, the episode where like Ron Swanson is selling like his violins and stuff like that, and like they're like, we're here, we're going to book our time because
Yeah.
it's the end of the world and it's coming on this day at this time.
It's like the annual party.
Yeah, and it's like an annual party, and like Ron's just like, every year they do this shit,
Yep.
and every year I allow it because I get to make money off it. Like, that's just what I'm imagining. Everyone being like, hey, where's the meteor?
Yep.
What do you mean you don't see it?
Yeah. Yep. So, and that's just where we started the campaign, was that night after everybody's gone home scratching their heads. Nobody knows what's happening. Everyone's kind of unsettled, but nobody's really realized the full import of like what this means yet. Like, there are some people that are like, oh, maybe the astronomers just got the day wrong, like,
Yeah,
or
there's like
something.
definitely people who are very nonchalant about this. It's like, it's not that big a deal.
Yep.
What's a day or two?
Mm-hmm.
And then we went to the moon.
And then they went to the moon. Yeah, I immediately dropped them into a vision with Anima.
Listen, I will tell you that going to the moon, it's life altering. I went to the moon once in a campaign. It was
Why do
different.
all your stories are the like PTSD, and they're me.
Oh, they're not PTSD. No. Actually, they're the best part is, I love doing that, even though they're like the fondest memories, because they're just such fun games. But in the moment, I'm not going to lie, before we got to the moon, I was not sure how that campaign was going, Clubs, because I died, then I got resurrected, but as a ghost that I learned was bound to the thing that killed me, only to be freed from it to wind up in a stone statue. I went through 3 different races, classes, 2 different classes,
Every
2
time you
different
died.
subclasses every time I died. Only to then find out inside you were just like, yo, by the way, you have more power inside you. And I was just like, yo, I want to unlock the Megazord power. But we never did you that one. And part of me thinks that part of me thinks that that's a good thing. Because I feel like we were getting to a point where like I was going to just end up going Super Saiyan.
This
And
is
it
what
was
you
going to
remember
go.
about the moon?
So yes, because here's what happened. You put me in a stone suit and then proceeded to blow up the moon while simultaneously having the universe swirl around our friend's dead character that he was no longer, because he was now a Tabaxi samurai on the 3rd planet that we had jumped to.
Jin?
A lot.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, a lot happened in this campaign, and this was all over the course of what, like 7, 8, like 10 sessions?
Yeah, it was very short.
It was like 10 sessions, and it was just pure epic.
You guys went to the moon and went through like a spaceship, a crashed spaceship.
We found
Just
a
to sum
laser.
it up for everyone. And then They left the spaceship, and we're on the
You make
moon.
it sound so peaceful.
That's sweet.
Why do you make it sound so nonchalant? Like it wasn't the
Because
greatest time.
For me, I'm like,
Well,
I don't have any trauma from it. I just
Yes. Why does it always sound like you have PTSD? And it was me.
yeah. Why
I
is it
don't
always
have
like I went to
PTSD.
the moon once?
I did. I went to the. I always wanted to sound like an old war story.
It is. It does. You're
It
selling
does.
it.
I always wanted to be the. I always wanted to sound like I survived Nam, even though I had the greatest time of my life.
That little. Yeah. Anyway,
No, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say that little game was just like, I don't know. It was like at the very end of me playing 5e.
Yeah.
So I just embraced whatever it started out in Barovia with like the three of them as villains.
Oh.
And they died at the end of a one shot, but it was so much fun that I brought them back as dead versions of their characters because we were just going like fucking over the top, right? So now they're dead
Yeah, we just said fuck it.
versions. Like one's a ghost, one's a vampire, the other's what was it? Like a monster, like a Frankenstein.
Yeah, he was like a
monster.
behemoth Frankenstein-ish thing.
Yeah.
Vampires
then-
in space. Now that sounds like a great MST3K
Oh.
episode.
They did a like a Destiny, the video game encounter, where it was like a puzzle. They had to figure out a puzzle while they were doing a fight, and the gravity of the room kept changing, and when they were done, basically they were on the moon in like a temple.
Yo,
And they went through like a fucking
the speed run of
spaceship,
it
right?
makes
Like it
me
just
upset
escalated.
because it was so good.
What?
Your speed run of it sounds so good, but at the same time makes me so mad because I'm like, it was so long and so intense. And to hear it played back like this, it's like, damn it, was that really all it was?
Yeah, that was an entire session, like as a fight, trying to complete a puzzle during the fight.
Yeah,
But
really,
I don't do that kind of stuff anymore.
I like how you said that's not me anymore though.
That's not me anymore, though. Now I run fights where I roll morale, usually in the first or second or third round of combat, and usually it means that whatever they're fighting, probably an animal, runs away. Very mundane game.
I wouldn't call it mundane.
Well, mundane sounds bad, but I mean it as like the inverse of like magical. Very grounded game, like very much like everyone's dirty kind of vibe.
Everyone's dirty.
Okay.
So no more moves.
Like 5e doesn't really use the morale system, but when
You
you
could do
are
it.
when you are playing the game, like there are times when you go to fight people, what have you, and like if your squad is beating the tar out of them and they can leave, they gonna leave. Like not everybody wants to fight to death.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's definitely a point where your enemy might be like, this is too much. See you
Like
later.
those gnolls that you two fought in the woods.
Did they just get bored and walk away?
Spent four rounds of combat with nobody hitting each other on either side. Eventually, they just walked away.
This is just ugh.
I've never seen such terrible roll.
Look, sometimes the dice are just nobody's friend.
It's true.
Seven combatants, 4 rounds, nobody rolled over a 10.
That was how my character started the campaign. I had a partner. They also didn't hit anything, obviously, but yep, that's how it started.
That's how it usually starts.
You know,
That's rough though. I feel for you.
It's rough,
Yeah.
buddy. What were you gonna say, VF?
I have this problem where we play online, and for some reason that there's something corrupted in my code. I roll pretty fucking hot, like every
Oh my
single
god, you roll way too fucking hot sometimes, bro.
and everyone rolls pretty bad.
No, but like the way he rolls, you would think he was aiming to kill us.
It like aggravates me.
I
Cause I'll
can.
be like, cause he'll be like, "Oh, I rolled a fuck, guys, you're dead."
We roll initiative every round.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
Oh.
every round, I roll a d6, and one of them rolls a d6, and there's no pluses or minuses. It's just d6 versus d6 each round. And I ask them before we roll it, is anyone casting a spell or fleeing? And if they are, they have to declare it before we roll. And then they declare it, and I roll a d6, and I get a fucking 5 every time.
But
Or a
only
1.
in
I get a
like,
5 or a 1.
but only in the situations in which we really need to go before him. Like, it would really be a good idea for us to go before him right now, because us continuing to go after him is not helping.
The only boon they have is that they have 2 humans, and humans, their special thing is that when you tie an initiative, the humans automatically go first on their own turn.
Oh. Interesting.
So they have a magician that's a human, and one time he was gonna cast sleep, and we tied, and I was like, "Oh shit! Like that's it. Sorry, you're gonna get hit, lose the spell, blah blah blah, all that crap, right?" But no, he was a human versus like a not human, so he went first.
Damn. Especially because
Saved our
so-
lives.
yeah,
Yeah,
Saved
save
our lives.
everyone.
you can just kill people who are asleep in those early editions.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, it's very
You
grisly.
murder hoboing.
I do have a what about what is it, Raya?
Oh, on the map.
On this map?
Raya is, like the rivalry between England and France where they hate each other's guts because they're so similar in so many ways.
I never thought about it that way, but
It tracks.
Yeah, like fighting siblings kind of thing.
yeah.
That's Raya and the Tilithians. It's like this other little edge that it's got high mountains between it, so they've never been able to actually take it over. But they like hate each other completely baselessly.
I see.
They're just there to annoy Talithia.
Interesting.
The literal thorn
Yeah.
Yep.
in their side.
Yep. And then Jonah and Perla, the yellow and pinky ones way over under Alphos, are where all the like exotic races come from. And they were their own like countries, but they kind of got subsumed into the empire. And they're pretty chill with it. It was a long time ago.
They're like, that happened a while ago. I'm not really concerned about it anymore.
Well, very cool.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You guys are all awesome.
Okami, what have you got?
Yeah, I was gonna say you have
Jeez.
some stuff to show us tonight.
Okay.
Round us off.
So, for mine, we were joking about this at the beginning that I said this was the first like multi-phase boss battle I came up with for my campaign because my players actually skipped an entire multi-phase boss battle, just completely ignored it. And now they're kind of upset about it. And I'm like, you guys just ignored it. This one was harder for them to ignore, but I have a handout. I'm not giving it out yet. I'm gonna tweak it some more. But this is a multi-phase boss battle in. The way that I ran it, it was based on health. But you could also do this by some other trigger to switch the phases. But the basis of it is you have a Category 2 Krasis. You don't necessarily need to run the Krasis exactly as a Krasis is. It's a creature from Ravnica, and it's made by the Simic, so it's like the Simic love to make avatar animals, is the only way I can describe it. So like this creature, the Category 2 Krasis, is the figure that they use. I have the figure. Hold on, let me switch cameras. This is the figure. It's that picture. This is actually a galloping Lizrog, is what the real creature's name is.
Oh, it's a magic card. I've seen
Yep.
this card.
Category 2 just means that it's large. So there's Category 1 is medium, Category 2 is large, and Category 3 is huge. I just went straight with a large one. But I based the stat block on him, and actually I'll switch back to this camera. The cool thing about a Krasis is, at least the Galloping Lizrog version, why is it zooming out instead of in? Whatever, not going to worry about the AI. He's got pauldrons on that have sigils and runes all over them. So what I did in my world is each of the pauldrons is actually a containment device. You don't have to go as high, you can go high magic or low magic, whatever you want. But one of my BBEGs is a hag, a very powerful hag. My players don't know why she's as powerful as she is. They just know some other stuff about her. Within my world, she has an adopted son that is technically, he is the first child of some kids that got experiments run on them by the Zentarum. And they're essentially like Witchers, but I use the term Blood Hunter because it was already there. They just don't function like Matt Mercer's Blood Hunters. But they do function sort of like Witchers. And my players discovered that he was alive when he shouldn't be, because all of the other kids who don't have magical blood in them for some reason, like Valley Vajiria's character is a water genasi, so she's fine. But Jack DT's Goblin Slayer is just a human, so he's very, very sick. And my players have slowly been realizing that all the kids of these people who are experimented on will die without some kind of magical infusion given to them at regular doses. So Jack DT's Goblin Slayer is dying all the time. This first kid, though, was adopted by this hag because she found some notes from the scientist who ran the experiments on the first generation Blood Hunters. So she's real good at science because that guy's not from this plane. I can say this even if my players are listening. The original idea was that it was like high science from Eberron, but it can be from anywhere. You guys have avoided all plans to travel the planes at this point. So it can be from anywhere.
That's pretty funny coming from you.
Right?
World's worst Horizon Walker.
Using something that is in Candlekeep Mysteries that I tweaked a bit, if you take a really high-level creature and you implant a piece of it in somebody else, you can make the new creature that has this implant immune to divination magic. And I was like, oh, this is a really cool idea. All of my Blood Hunters no one can find them because they're immune to divination magic. They just immediately push it out. And so this kid, she gave him the implant, but she doesn't have all of the notes. So the way it works in Candlekeep Mysteries is if you have this implant, you will eventually have your consciousness consumed by whatever creature this implant came from. So he is slowly being consumed. And my players don't know by what creature he has an implant. They just know whatever it is really hates goblins. And not just like your regular run-of-the-mill goblins. Like he hates goblin kind. Like a grudge that's so deep it must go back to the gods. And they have no idea who he is or what he's doing. But because our BBEG is sort of gathering all the goblins into an army, once he starts getting taken over by this failed implant, he's like, I can't kill my mother's teammates. I gotta go somewhere. So since we started Lost Mines of Phandelver, and Lost Mines of Phandelver connects really easily to the Essentials kit, it's basically the same thing happening at the same time, but with like minor tweaks to where your players go. I'm using Lylon, and Lylon happens to have an island that's called Idle Island, and it's really right off the coast, but in my game we push it out a little bit farther. And there's some statues on there that WotC suggests you can say, hey, people have visions on these islands. So this kid, the name he goes by now is Sogmir. That's not his real name. That's just basically a devilish name that he took over from his mama. He went to this island to go get the visions, but the visions make you sick. If you keep staying there and you keep trying to have visions, they give you exhaustion. So when my players went to go get him, he had nowhere else to go. But he can't be scryed on, he can't be divined, so his mama had to make a creature to go get him. And that is Mother's Envoy, which I made a stat block for, which is here. Which is basically using the Category 2 Crisis and all of his things, but adding in the limited telepathic control and so normally on a Crisis stat block, they have adaptations, and you're supposed to use you're supposed to use 1 major and 1 minor. I went 2 major and 1 minor and added some more stuff. So his CR is higher than a Category 2 Crisis, but his stats are basically the same. But the phases of the battle are my creature, Mother's Envoy. It has crocodile in him, so he can control crocodiles. And he's also got ooze in him, so he literally secretes ooze. So I gave him basically like the venom camouflage, where he can change the color of what comes out of him to hide, because he's got to keep track of Sogmir, but Sogmir doesn't want to be kept track of. He's trying to figure out what's going on with himself. And then, because I already had the acid going, I gave him acidic skin and changed it so not only do you take acid damage if you hit him and you're close, he's obviously going to swing and bite and deal acid damage too. And I gave him regeneration because his inner acidic structure will fill in gaps if you cut him up.
Cool.
Damn.
And then when I give you the handout, I'm trying my best to make it so that you can choose other adaptations for your Crisis. I'm calling them Envoy in general because it's a creature that's made with the very specific purpose of hunting down another creature. So he's got some biological implant or function that was chosen when he was basically made. He's got a piece of Sogmir in him, so he can find Sogmir biologically as long as they're on the same plane of existence. So he's basically just going to watch over him. And Crasises are dumb, so my Envoy is also very dumb. He doesn't like understand things. When he uses that like limited telepathy, if you have telepathy in some way, like we have a Verdant in our party, you can hear that something is coming out, but it's unintelligible. It's not words. It's like a baseline emotion or a push. But if your Envoy happens to have already taken control of these creatures, and your players happen to be like in the middle of all of them, they'll probably notice their behavior changed. So like for me, we were on Idle Island. This guy's amphibious, which is important because of the later phases in the battle. But my players happen to be on Idle Island already. Hopefully this works. Can I... Haha! It works! I didn't know if LibreOffice was going to pop up in here, but it does. This is what my island looked like when my players got there. And you can see Sogmir asleep on that statue way up there. But you could use any other creatures. I just needed amphibious ones, and also crocodiles, bite attack, restrains people, which is important because for me, my envoy, his job is to make sure that Sogmir is safe. So he will protect Sogmir as best he can. When your players figure out, like, oh, there's something else on this island, he'll release that pulse to make the rest of the monsters sort of change. If you have your psychic in your party, they might get a notification. Or like I said before, if you're some anthropomorphic animal that is related to whatever your envoy happens to be made out of, make them make a save. You could make it simple. If you use the stats by default and you're going to go with a wisdom save, it's going to be DC 12. But in the adaptations chart, it says whatever this creature does should be DC 14 saves if it's large. So you could do whatever one you prefer. I think DC 14 is more fun if he's like a CR. He'll be a CR 7 creature. I think DC 14 is more fun. He doesn't know water gun. He knows acid slash, I guess you could say. But he's not necessarily the biggest threat here because within each of his pauldrons, it's like a little miniature prison kind of deal going on. And so during the course of the battle, he'll start releasing them. Now, my players completely ignored his pauldrons, even though I explained to them how the sigils were starting to glow and you could feel magic coming off of them. So in the handout,
I'm starting to notice a theme.
Yeah.
Ignoring the things that you set up carefully.
So if you wanted to, your players can try to stop the pauldrons from activating. I would say you can add up their AC by 1 or 2. He's got a basic default AC of 15. Say it's 1 or 2. Because technically a pauldron you could use like a buckler. It is shields. So you could up it by 1 or 2. And I'd say probably give them like 20 to 50 health. But because they're magical, make them immune to non-magical damage. And if your players just want to check on them, like want to do an Arcana check or something, or they have something that tells them the school of magic, it's going to be Conjuration, because basically both of these pauldrons are a little portal. And if your envoy is built the same way as mine with the same adaptations, like mine is specifically built to hang out here, and there were already a lot of crocodiles in the area, but they happened to be the minions of another creature that he stole. So that led to some fun interactions in my world. You can make it so that he's related to any other kind of creatures you want, but crocodiles and oozes made sense for me. If Sogmir happened to be in a cave, I would have used oozes and had him control the oozes. But I went with the crocodiles. So for the first pauldron, there's a cool blog called 3rd to 5th, and all this person does is take 3rd edition creatures and give them 5th edition stat blocks. That's it. And fantastic work. So the first pauldron is going to release a Dark Tentacles, which is literally just a ball of tentacles. It doesn't breathe, even though it doesn't say it here. It doesn't breathe. And its whole job is to reach tentacles out and hold people in place. And you might be like, what's up with all the holding people in place? That's because the 3rd phase, so when the 2nd phase starts, if your envoy, like mine, is meant to protect someone, it's going to start moving away from its target once it releases the Dark Tentacles. Because Dark Tentacles is super slow. On land, it only has a 5-foot speed. It is large, but like, he's so slow. He's going to start moving away, and that's because 3rd phase, he's going to release another creature from 3rd to 5th was nice enough to make. This is a drowned, and the drowned special ability is a drowning aura. Any creature within 30 feet of it that needs to breathe air has to make a con save. On a success, they're fine, nothing weird happens, and they're immune to this effect for 24 hours, but on a failure, they gain 1 level of exhaustion as their lungs fill with water. So even if you succeed on subsequent turns, you still have all that water in your lungs until you take a rest. So it's not even like you winning the fight against this guy is where it ends. It could still be bad for you depending on how much exhaustion you've taken. So like I said, please explain to your players if they don't know already how bad exhaustion is, because Jack DT had no idea that he could die from exhaustion. even though everyone at the table told him he could die from exhaustion. And the Drowned doesn't want to kill Sogmir either, so that's why your envoy should be avoiding, if it's there to save or protect whatever creature is hunting or tracking. If your envoy was made specifically to kill another creature, he would be absolutely on top of that creature before the Drowned gets released. But then...
Do they tend to prefer one or the other, or did you make it kind of like agnostic in that sense?
For the handout, I tried to make it as agnostic as possible because for me, like, I specifically call my envoy Mother's Envoy. He's specifically designed to keep track of Sogmir while he's away from the army and everything else. But you could 100% make an envoy that's specifically designed to hunt and kill some creature that's found some way to make themselves immune to divination.
Gotcha. Okay. Oh.
Yeah. He could just be that. This could be what you're doing your escort mission on. You could put different creatures inside of your pauldrons as well. I picked Drowned and Dark Tentacles because specifically they're really good at holding people in place. And everything else on this island, what I didn't take into account is that the water genasi can breathe underwater. So like one of my players totally did not give a single fuck about this guy. But everybody else was like, "Oh, I'm going to die." But hey, that was this guy's job. Yeah. And okay, so in the handout, I'm going to tell you that if your player, like if your envoy was sent to protect someone and your players don't beat it, it's going to try its best to reabsorb the two creatures back into its pauldron and then go back to its regular job. If you beat it and not those other two creatures, they're going to be a problem, especially if that Drowned makes it into the nearest body of water. Like if you're on an island and they jump in, that's going to be a problem. He's going to start killing people at whatever the nearest settlement is because that's what he likes to do. The Dark Tentacles could get away, but if the Dark Tentacles get away, you're doing something wrong. He's so slow. Unless he makes it into the water. For the Dark Tentacles mini, I just used these weird little vines from... Where's the camera? These weird little vines from... this is Dungeon Craft Cursed Lands. You could just chop up one of them vines. He's just a tentacle beast, man. You could use silly string or something, whatever. It's just tentacles. And then my crocodiles, unfortunately, I don't know where the file is from. I wish I did. I have it saved somewhere, but not on this computer, obviously. I 3D printed all my little crocodiles. They're very small, and most of them broke in one way or another because I was using Baby's first printer, and they are way too small and detailed for Baby's first printer to do anything right. And then for the Drowned, I use a ghost from Fantasy Series 1, which I unfortunately can't give you the link to because Blacklist Miniatures sold the rights and the molds to Fantasy Series and Horror Series. And Wildspire Miniatures now has the rights and ran a Kickstarter for them, which I am waiting for Series 2. But there's no way to buy them like commercially at the moment. But yeah, there's my 3-stage boss battle. I zoomed through, but I'm going to give you guys a handout so you can build your own. And you saw a part of it. I'm hoping that it comes out okay because like I said at the beginning of the stream, I made it in Office and then I lost regular Office and switched. So I wasn't sure how well LibreOffice was going to do. But it seems to be okay.
I think it did a pretty good job. I think
Thanks,
it came
man.
out great. And you know what else I think comes out great? People liking, commenting, subscribing, and doing a whole bunch of those fun things that only DM Lacara can explain to people here as we get ready to, I guess, close up shop.
Yeah, I realized
DM
that we did
Lacara.
not do this at our
Yeah,
usual time. It feels so weird.
I know we're a little off top. We're a little off timing. We'll get back to it. We promise. But
I
DM
also forgot
Lacara,
to change the music
how
for me. Sorry. Whoops.
how can people help out Okami in the stream?
It's very simple, everybody. Hit the buttons. If you have money, hit the buttons that give Okami money. There are Twitch and Patreon and YouTube subscriptions and all of those things. There should be a raccoon telling you what to do on the screen right about now. An angry raccoon. If you do not... Oh, and our Redbubble shop, which has lots of fun stuff in it that starts super cheap. And if you do not have money but wish you did, like most of us, then you can still like, subscribe, comment, join the free tier of the Patreon, share us with your friends, and help spread us like the happy disease that we are.
Yeah.
We promise we too are searching for the magic money pit that prints money. And if we find it, we will potentially share the location with our top tier Patreon subscribers. You know.
It's true. And
Indeed.
if you are already a Twitch sub, if you're tier 1, I don't think there are any tier 2 or tier 3 subs because that's crazy. But if you are a tier 1 sub, you actually are supposed to have access to both the music overhaul sheet and access to the repository. I don't think I can send you a link like automatically, so hit me up in the Discord or whatever your preferred thing is, and I will DM you the links. You are owed that. And the same is true for all the handouts that we're going to end up giving out next week. You're all owed them if you're a Twitch sub, so just hit me up and I will share them with you. Oh, we have to do our poll. Ooh.
Oh yeah. We have a poll for next week. I feel like we're back on schedule. We're back. It was good to have everybody's voice back this week.
Yeah. I don't know what happened to DM Speedy.
I know he's still dealing with new home things.
Oh, that's right. I forgot he moved. You're right.
So I think he's still dealing with like occasional new home things. But there's always going to be another show and tell.
It's true. Oh, SpongeBob, no. I have, okay, Awaz, you sent me a picture from the animated spell deck. I own them all because Hit Point Press had a sale a while back that was like, oh, here's all our stock that was damaged. And I was like, oh, is that a discount I see? And it was like, I'm going to say 85% off. And I was expecting like everything to be broken completely. And the only thing that's wrong with the cards is that some of the borders are messed up. And I'm like, so I have them all.
The evil cackle is what really sets me over the top.
I will make this poll momentarily. Sorry. But our topics for next week are... I wish I could spell next week. There you go. I'm going to learn one day.
Is that a topic?
Everyone's going to talk about the timescales in their games.
Oh, cool.
We got homework, which is just a big supplement that we probably can't get through in one session. Items, maps, A one-shot supplement is something that we can get through in one session, and tools.
Be a shame if we said one-shot supplement. Like one-shot supplement is the one that we like have to finish in one.
Mm.
Like we can't let one-shot supplement become one two-shot. Two-shot, one-shot.
And we're definitely we'll tell you all right now for sure, we will never do another 7-shot supplement. We will stop at 5 no matter what. And even then,
Might
I
even
don't think
stop
we're going to
before
hit
then.
5 very often.
Yeah, we'll stop ourselves before then. I think we'll find a way to spark notes the entirety of it.
So I heard on some people's browsers you can't join the poll. Fist was telling me, I think he's on Opera ? And he couldn't vote in the poll. All the polls run for 24 hours after the stream ends, so come on Discord, hit us up. The only place I would say not to send a DM with your vote is Twitch, because Twitch has hidden the DMs, and I will definitely not see it before time is up.
That seems fair. It's like I will not find your vote. But Okami, where can they find you this week?
This week I will be streaming more Horizon Forbidden West tomorrow night at 8. Come join me as we catalog the progress blocking glitches that I'm sure we will run into.
Oh.
How about the rest of you? Where can they find the rest of you this week?
It is a short week this week, so
Oh yeah.
probably trying my best to actually take a day off.
Ooh.
I think I've hit right. I think I hit a little bit of writer's burn recently.
Feel that.
And I need to slow the burn, literally, by taking just like a break for a day. So I'm looking forward to the 3-day weekend. But DM Lacara, DM Clubs, what about you guys? Any big plans for the week?
Hang out in the sun.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. I'll take this. Now we're talking. I feel like you've instilled the ice cream post session as a hidden rule for our Thursday night game.
Oh, I was wondering why you were all like, I'm gonna have ice cream after our session in DM Speedy's game.
Yeah. After at 11 when I'm like very tired, because I go to sleep at 11 basically most nights, and we finish our session. I'm like, okay, I need to eat my ice cream and go to sleep.
It's just in that order.
I need my Yasso bar.
I need my Yasso and sleep.
Yep. It's sad but true. That's what I'm gonna do now too, by the way.
Yeah, so he's like, as soon as.
Well, shucks, gang. Thanks for the talk.
Oh, whoops.
Thanks for
Thank
coming
you.
by again.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, and definitely thank everyone for popping in. I definitely think there's some cool new stuff to share. Hopefully, we'll have even more stuff to share with people. Question mark.
Yeah, I will definitely. I'll talk to the other DMs and see what exactly we're releasing and what we want to put behind any of the walls or what have you. But yeah, there will definitely be stuff next week. Just gonna tweak some more junk. I will be putting out the poll for July's thank you stream soon-ish. But because we did Marvel Rivals 3 months in a row, I'm going to take Marvel Rivals off the list. Not that I don't want to play with you guys, because, listen, 8 hours of play with like all of you guys cycling in and out was a lot of fun. That was a blast. It'll definitely be on the list again in August.
In the future.
But
He's like, I just need a month off.
yeah. But we'll do something simpler, maybe. It probably won't be simpler. What I meant to say was shorter. I'm sorry. The plan was originally to do them on Sundays, but my Sundays are always busy now. I'm sorry. Like Grimjack, when he came in to play with us, he was like, I don't understand how you're so busy. And I was like, do you remember when you yelled at me right before I started working at the beach about how I'm unemployed and yet I'm the busiest person you've ever met? I was like, you yelled that at me, not the other way around.
You informed me of my plight.
I want to play with you. We got Dex now too. I don't know. I'm assuming Dex went to sleep already. I'm assuming. I haven't heard from him in a while. But he's new to the game, so we can baby bird him.
Oh shoot. I'm gonna get ready to head off, as I have to be up earlier.
Oh, gross. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's the curse of the shortened week.
Oh.
They're like, you're off Friday. I'm like, yeah. And you're leaving early Thursday. I'm like, yeah. And they're like, cool. So do 5 days of work in 3.7.
Oh.
No. But unfortunately, I have to be at work earlier. So I will be bowing out a little early tonight. But thank you guys again for having me. As always, Okami, the Lacara Clubs. It's always fun to chat about tabletop and learn history and talk shop, really. That's really...
Yeah.
Sometimes I think secretly if there was an option on the poll that was just like freeform, we would fill the 2 hours plus with freeform talk.
Oh, for sure.
The topic is really just a guiding light.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
But it's always fun to come join everybody to talk shop on Monday nights. And I'll be here next Monday, as usual, for more shop talk.
That sounds good to me.
Okay. Till then,
Have fun, everyone.
Good night,
Bye,
everybody.
everyone. I will wait until the
Yeah.
poll is done, and then I'll call the stream quits. For those of you on
Okay.
YouTube, you can just leave it. You can leave your answer here, or you can leave it when this is a VOD. Bugbears and the women that love them. To be honest, why am I typing? To be honest, I feel like I need to make an NPC that just likes big woolly dudes. Or a lady. No, sorry. Yeah. A dude that's into really woolly ladies. Ooh. 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 Okay, I like that. Mama bears. Oh. I feel like Karlak is a mama bear. Actually, Karlak has no. It's not her thing. I guess not. Alright, so we got 2 votes for maps. Alright, that is added to the list. I feel like maps is gonna win. Just a feeling I have. But thank you all for coming and enjoying. I looked at the screen reading that like my favorite annoyed husky emote. Where is it? 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 I'm gonna send it to you on Discord. Yep. That is exactly how I looked at the screen. But thank you all for coming and enjoying. We will have handouts next week because I'm already going to post the new Okami Ukuri Plays poll this week. I didn't want to double up. And I figured I was going to need some time to tweak my Mother's Envoy handout. I am noticing now that I can no longer... Interesting. I can only see some of the stuff from LibreOffice. Like, that's the wrong one. That's so weird. Like, it won't let me show... Nope, that's not it. That's so weird. It's only letting me see one of the options for LibreOffice. That's something I'll have to deal with later. There we go. Oh, it has the same name. It's what... Okay, I got it. But yeah, I had to change the formatting a bunch. But there's lots of pictures, and there's a bunch of links in them. I think it's okay now, but I'll do a few tweaks. The only thing I didn't say is that I actually have a list in the handout of the links that I used. The only one that's not here in links is the stat block generator, which we talked about in tools way back when. I have this. Oh, I should have made that. I'll make that a hyperlink in a bit. That one's up there. But I also added in the BGMs that I used specifically for my Envoy, and then the 3 phases. And then links to all the products that I used that are like visible here. But yeah, I will see all of y'all tomorrow if you want to come hang out and watch me rage at Horizon. It's up to y'all, but I will be around. And if not, come hang out in the Discord. I will be publishing the Twitch version, and the YouTube version will automatically become a VOD soon. But I'm going to go make the poll in the DM chat. That sounds good. But until then, bye everybody on Twitch. Thanks for coming and hanging out. Bye everybody on YouTube. Thanks. I'll see you again soon. I'm waiting for... Oh, I never brought Nightbot into YouTube chat. Oh, balls. I don't even know if Nightbot will answer. Whatever. Bye, everyone. Thank you for tuning in.